Jeffrey Rupnow, the father of 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who killed 2 people in December 2024 at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, was arrested and charged with contributing to delinquency of a child and 2 counts of providing a dangerous weapon to a person under 18, resulting in death. That's the photo of the shooter on the screen with her dad. They look pretty, happy to be who they are. Natalie Rupnow killed a teacher and a 14-year-old student before taking her own life, and the other students were critically injured in the attack.
It's a German band.
Authorities have not disclosed a clear motive. No, by the way, no letter, no.
There was.
They're saying that there's no clear motive. What was it, Jake? Do you know?
So I read a lot about this because I knew we were going to do it on the show, but also I was interested because it's like one of the first, it's like the second or third time.
It's the third time somebody's getting arrested.
The parents are, and I was like, okay, well, how? That's hard for me to think because I was like, well, people have free will, like you can't control your kids, but how negligent do you have to be in order for them to qualify you for this, right? Which was honestly in this case pretty negligent. But when you said about the band, Humberto, that shirt, you know who else wore the shirt?
Yeah, the Columbine kids wore that shirt.
Yes.
You've been doing your reading, guy.
You did research. This is his first podcast on Unusual.
Hey, man, I gotta come out swinging.
Yeah.
But so this girl was mentally disturbed, like really bad.
Pills and stuff, like pills.
I don't know. I'm sure that there may have been some kind of supplemental thing. Yeah. But they said she went to a therapist. She had just a tough life. I mean, she grew up with 2 parents. Her dad was an alcoholic, that guy. And her parents had recently gotten divorced. The therapist said she had some post-traumatic stress disorder type stuff.
Was there any evidence of sexual abuse in the family?
So not that I know of. It didn't. Nothing that I read like kind of alluded to that. But what it did allude to was the fact that she was with her dad now after the parents split. Like the mom went off and she was with her dad. Dad was an alcoholic, kind of a losery kind of guy. She didn't get much interaction with him. He would just kind of come home and do his thing and leave her alone. Well, what she was doing was she would go online and she was like super into school shootings, weird stuff. And what really like kind of was the tipping point was because they said that she had a really bad youth. She was like cutting herself, self-abuse. Like she was a mentally disturbed person from very young. Like they said she was 11 or 12 years old when she was getting like really into it. And the dad didn't know what to do with her. He was trying to connect with her. He didn't know how. And he took her shooting at a friend's ranch, and she liked the guns. So he's like, oh, that's a way to connect with my kid. So he bought her guns. And he was taking her shooting, teaching her how to use it. And he's like, wow, she's really enamored by these guns, not knowing that she was enamored because she wanted to use them.
Oh, man.
And so she had a cardboard diorama of the school built in her room. She had maps of the school. She had a 7-page letter detailing the times, the places, the people, everything about how she was going to do it. She detailed how she was going to get the guns. He gave her the safe he gave her the code safe to the gun safe because he was like, if I ever, what he told her was, if you ever need to get them, it's my social security number backwards. Okay.
Why would you tell her? She's not. She's
I mean,
not licensed.
the argument's going to be if you need them for self-defense, and I don't know
sure.
the father
No,
gets.
And look, if your kid is responsible and whatever, 100%, I get it. It's not that's not his fault necessarily. But the way that she got the guns was she told him that she wanted to clean them, and he gave her the guns to clean, and then he got drunk and forgot if he put them in the safe or not. And she put them in her bag, and she went to the school and blew all the kids away.
Well, let me explain something too. There's no excuse for saying to a 14-year-old kid who doesn't have a license at all, hey, just in case shit pops off. No, that's irresponsible, and they deserve what they're getting. So the Jeffrey Rupnow, the father, the arrest places him among the few parents charged in connection for the child shootings that we talked about. The similar cases were Michigan and Georgia. In April, James and Jennifer Crumley, this is them right here. Can you show this photo? Became the first parents in U.S. history to be finally convicted and sentenced for their role in the shooting of their child, received 10 to 15 years in prison, involuntary, good manslaughter. They had purchased and failed to secure the handgun used by their son, Ethan Crumley, in the 2021 Oxford High School shooting. Despite clear warnings, like the warnings were blaringly loud, and they didn't do anything about it. And then Colin Gray, this is the father, 29 charges, second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, after his 14-year-old son, Colt, used an AR-15 style rifle in 2024, mass shooting at Appalachian High School that killed 4 and injured 7. He allegedly gifted the rifle to his son despite the FBI. Bro, I saw the video too. The FBI is like, yo, this kid is doing this, and they just in front of the kid, do you want to do this and shoot at the school? He's like, nah. And they're like, all right, I take your word. No. This is all around, guys.
I remember that.
Huh?
Yeah, that was heavy.
It's
All of
heavy,
dude,
but
they're
guys,
all
but
terrible.
hear me out. If you are living in a house, besides, take the mental disorder, put it to the side. You have 14-year-olds, 18-year-olds, whatever. That gun cannot be accessible at all.
Ever.
End of story. And I don't want to get your guys' opinion. I think this needs to happen in every single case. If the kid doesn't have a license and it's not their gun, and you allow them to get a gun and they shoot innocent people and they're still alive, they go to jail. You're going right there with them.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
The level of negligence, I mean, it has to be case-by-case basis. You can't just blanket it and be like, because kids are really smart, and say you have like the some niche cases, whatever.
If they, hold on, if they break into a safe,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
If they
They
had
steal it or
access-
something, right.
Oh yeah, if you just had it under your bed and he grabs and goes and kills my kid, you better go to jail for the rest of your
For
life.
not locking
That's
it up,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'll only note the inconsistency. You know whose parents weren't charged for the murder of their son is Crooks out in
Oh, yeah.
July
Isn't that
13th.
weird?
Isn't it weird that they don't go after the parents there so that we can actually find out what the kid was doing, what the parents knew, what was on?
Didn't they clean his whole?
Oh, and they were weird too. All of their appearances were very strange.
It was very,
that. Like,
very
the
weird.
CIA
But they go after some parents and they don't go after others. It's a gray zone of sorts.
Yeah, it's tough.
People are going to say shall not be infringed. This is just going to be the one step away from going after criminalizing gun ownership at large, so that parents can no longer exercise their Second Amendment rights. Others are going to say, well, they can. They just have to keep them locked away if they have kids. I'm more inclined to think that if you have a kid, certainly one that you know is mentally having issues, and your way of consoling those mental issues is to get them a gun and to give them access to the gun.
Yeah.
You're flirting with negligence.
They said they
if
had
not
texts
crossing
from
the
the
line.
father because the father incriminated himself. He was texting. So the girl ended up dying. She
got shot on top?
she ended herself.
She killed herself.
Yeah, at the end, and she planned that like to the T.
She knew it.
and they knew it. So he was texting like the detective, and he was saying like, "Oh, it was my fault. I shouldn't have given her access to this. I knew that she could do something like this. All this stuff." And they went through his text, and they found one to his friend where he says, "If I something to the effect of, if I keep the fun safe open right now, I have a fear that she'll shoot me."
Jeez.
Like he knew that she was.
Well,
You know.
there was. I was following this story when it happened, and there was another much more sinister, disgusting element of this, where people started thinking like there were Fed agitprops at play.
Oh,
that
geez.
girl, her Twitter feed, she was following and being followed by accounts that all they posted were school shooting montages.
Yeah, she was obsessed.
And there were people. There was one Twitter account that said live stream it before she did it.
Yeah.
And so the question became, was she egged on by online characters? She was. The question was, were those just legit disturbed
And
teenagers
what's
or
the
something?
FBI doing with the Patriot Act shit? Like, if they're looking at all of our data, like, why aren't they?
well, then-
if that's the case, they let that shit happen because
Well,
they want to. Because the goal is to take. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, let's just be honest with each other. The government's goal is to take our guns. Period. That's why every time there's a shooter, they don't give a shit about the kid. They just come up there and they go guns, 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 guns. That's the problem. That's Brandon, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay?
And bear in mind, the two-step is to get to not to people like you, but to get to the argument that, well, if the parents have a gun and it's too accessible, then we should hold them liable and lock them up for the acts of their kids, even if, in the Crumbly case, the kid was charged as an adult. That's a way to facilitate going after guns of law-abiding citizens, although it begs the question as to whether or not they were law-abiding in
But
the
here's
first
the thing, though.
place.
So, like, if you have a gun, you leave it in the passenger seat of your car, not in the glove box or anything, just like walk out into the store and somebody breaks and takes the gun, shoots somebody, then like you're liable for that,
For sure.
right?
Oh, for sure.
so
I
it's-
mean, they're in trouble and you're in trouble.
yeah,
that's your gun.
It's some degree of
Negligence.
manslaughter. It's some degree of manslaughter. So I think it's kind of similar to that.
Well,
you know?
especially with a minor who's under your care and control,
Yeah,
and you're civilly liable for their acts
I have
in
a
any
question.
event.
Yeah.
From like a legal standpoint. Oh, I mean, I don't even know if you have any experience with this. So in the Crumley case, right, where the kid is alive, and because at the end of the day, like somebody has to pay, obviously, and that's why they're going after the parents for those kinds of things. The deaths of the kids like shouldn't go unnoticed. But in the case of the Crumley case, they're charging him as an adult and charging more adults. So is that you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's bad. It's
No, I
just-
know, and I have zero experience with this, especially as a Canadian civil
Yeah, sure.
attorney, because
Yeah,
you
no.
even own a gun in Canada, you're going to jail. The analogy that I thought of is, if you go to that judge who is harboring the illegal
yeah.
and giving them access to guns, if you say, well, yeah, I gave the illegal gang member a gun and then they went and used it for criminal activity,
Would you expect? Kind of
what would you
thing,
expect?
right.
They're an adult. They're adults, and they're going to be charged as adults.
Sure.
But you aided and abetted to some extent. So
Oh, yeah.
the fact that Crumbly was charged as adults, I raised that as an argument, but I think the retort is still nonetheless obvious. Like, all right, you give a gun to an illegal alien who's not allowed to possess one, and then they commit a crime with it. They might be an adult, and you might have committed another crime.
Oh, I feel yeah.
So let me ask you just really quick, because I want to move on to the next story. As a father, how much do you put on the blame besides the gun situation? Not being involved enough, and I know this guy was drinking. If your kid, like Ethan's how old?
He's going to be 9.
Okay, 9 years old. You mean to tell me, bro, this father, she had a cardboard
She had a
cutout.
diorama in
She
her
had a
room.
diorama, a map, a manifesto of like, where am I going to go, a timesheet. How not involved
Cutting
are you as a
herself.
parent?
Forget not involved. Outright neglect if there wasn't abuse. The bottom line is like there's tragic situations like this, and you maximize the odds of bad stuff happening when you are a neglectful, abusive, alcoholic father. Flip side is, you can raise your kid perfectly, and then they can still do whatever.
Sure.
Plenty of school shooters, came from pretty decent
Luigi
backgrounds.
Mangione.
Yeah. It's
Luigi
like-
Mangione, I mean, but that guy might have had a psychotic break from doing psilocybin. But we'll see about
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if this is the correct comparison, but it's almost like with that type of attitude with, the guns and the neglect and the things, and then you get this is the byproduct of that. It's almost like all these, have you been noticing all these, like the list of Hollywood actors that all their kids are all doing the transgenders? Have you seen this?
Oh, overrepresentation.
And I'm not saying
Sure.
they're neglecting them, but there's some disconnect, even like with Marlon Wayans. All these guys that aren't around the kid, I don't know how, it's probably a bad example, but all these celebrities, and bro, I saw the list yesterday. It was insane. Even the guy from, is it Donovan? I don't know if I'm saying the right actor. He was in The Manchurian Candidate.
I have no idea.
He was the man. His kid now is trans, and all these trans people, and it's something to do with parenting.
That's-
It
that's-
has to be,
that-
and the woke mob getting to your kids in the school. But if
Well,
you're not involved-
and the social cultural contagion
yeah,
within
for
Hollywood.
sure.
I mean, and I strongly believe a lot of them are being sexually abused, if not by
I
their
think so.
parents,
Oh,
by the
somebody
industry,
is.
by the environment. So
My whole take on that is like, if you leave a void, it's going to get filled with something.
oh, good point. Good one.
It-
I mean,
whether-
something's gonna get in there.
Whether it's
Right.
good, you know what I mean? Like
It's like
You-
something's
but-
just missing. Somebody's gonna grab that kid, and that's it, bro. It's a wrap. That brain's gonna get.
It's
'cause,
tough.
dude, they're looking, especially at that age. They're looking like bro, Tico, Pat's son. He's like a sponge right now. Everything's happening. If somebody's pumping, hey, every single day, you could be a girl. You could be a girl. You could be a girl. Especially if you get
or
them
hey,
early on.
shoot up a school, shoot up a school, you know.
Yeah. Hey, school sucks, and all these people are bullies. They're
And
gonna,
they hate you. It's like they ostracize the people. Like the people in those communities, it's so weird because they'll join it to feel part of a community, and then that community will convince you how ostracized you are from regular communities. And so that's what creates that kind of weird discourse where you're like, oh, well, I'm so separate from those people. I don't belong even on Earth. Like, it's like it's really
freaking
messed
horrible.
up.
Yeah. Well,
bottom line, why haven't they charged Crook's parents with anything?
By the way, 'cause
Very
I want
suspicious.
to move on.
Massive
Great question.
mystery.
When you brought that up, my mindset is because I've seen 3 videos of the father walking, no comment, no comment. No, F that. Let's find that piece of shit.
It's the new standard. That kid Crooks, I don't know him. He didn't look like he was all right in the head.
No.
How did he get a gun? How was he going to a firing range and shooting? Going to a range
Yeah.
with other FBI agents and law enforcement
and flying
his parents.
drones
Yeah,
over the dude.
I think as we set precedents for this kind of stuff, I mean, it's hard to say that they're going to retroactively go back and look at those kinds
No,
of
it's
things.
going to be
you know that.
two-tiered
No,
application
but I
of a
think if
weaponized system.
as it starts, the precedent starts to get set. I don't know if it's going to deter kids from doing it or deter parents from letting their kid. I mean, I hope it does.
It won't. It'll be two-tiered application of a weaponized system, as we're going to see with refugees.
Yeah.
Hey, some refugees are good, others are not good.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.